Hey cuties, I'm Lanikia and you're watching All Soaps All Day, a channel dedicated to all things soaps. All right, guys, so this is just an opinion, and who are the real detectives on these soaps? Because it seems like the people that they have placed in charge are not able to actually do the job. So we will start with Days of Our Lives. And I made Sean small because honestly, Sean has so much stuff going on in his personal life. He doesn't do detective work, to be honest with you. I forgot he was even a detective. And then we have Rafe. Okay, so the first thing is Abigail's murder. Like, it has been weeks now, and all of the hard work that has been done has not been getting done by the detectives. Yes, Rafe was the one who found that Nancy was wearing Abigail's bracelet, but that's all he's found. Because so when he did find that, he brought Clyde in, but Clyde was able to have a complete alibi. And besides that, he kept telling Chad what was going on, and Chad was running into the police station interrogation room, beating up all of the witnesses, or attempting to beat up all of the witnesses. Excuse me, I mean suspects. He was beating up all the suspects. So after that, we see that the next thing that happens is they find out who kidnapped Sammy. Now this is completely coincidence because Chad only let this fly out because he started piecing the puzzles together and realized that Lucas was drunk on the night that Abigail was murdered, and he had motive to do it. And so in comes Marlena, because that is the real VIP of this whole thing. Marlena comes in and she hypnotizes Lucas. And in doing so, he's able to remember that he cut his hand on a paring knife, or paring knife, however you want to pronounce it. And so it was not a steak knife, and he could not have killed Abigail because he saw Sarah there, and she was running out of downstairs, and she dropped something and she put it back in her coat. She had a raincoat and everything on, which led them to believe, okay, so Sarah is the one who did it. Now, we saw in today's episode that Marlena was talking to Sarah because Sarah said, will you hypnotize me as well? And when she did, she found out that Rex was with her that night. And Rex said, no, she didn't go anywhere. She was too woozy. And I stayed with her for about 2 hours around the time Abigail was murdered. That means Abigail could not have been murdered by Sarah, at least not this Sarah. But what I find funny is that Marlena was actually taking notes, and she said, Lucas said there was a rain jacket. So she's piecing all of this together. I said, well, Marlena is solving this case for you all, because she's gotten the most information and the most leads going in the right direction. And besides all that, how y'all know that there are these masks going around, but nobody is putting the connections with the dots. Excuse me, connecting the dots that maybe Gwen or Kristen or someone did it. If Lucas said he saw Sarah, Sarah's saying she has an alibi, which Rex is a sure proof alibi for her, then it's not that hard to believe. And I think that Xander and Sarah are actually going to be the ones to come up with the actual person who did this, because Gwen is just too thirsty, and I'm disappointed in you, Gwen. Anyways, off topic, but let's keep going. So then we go to Jake being murdered. And I had Jan there because I said Sean can't, like, again, I told you about his personal life, but he couldn't even defend himself when it came to Jan. Belle had to come through and save him and his baby, or his alleged baby at the time. So he can't help. He just runs around. And so, okay. So then we see that someone had came into the pub earlier, but Eric had let him go because he was trying to get him help, but the man couldn't get help. But then Eric comes upon the man again. I believe his name was Greg, and he sees them trying to rob Nicole, and he holds Nicole. He held Nicole at gunpoint. So Eric is trying to talk the man down, and he finally does, but he pushes Nicole in the process. And Eric wanted to run after the man, but he couldn't because he could see Nicole was hurt. But Rafe comes up, And I don't know what was going on in his mind, because you're a detective. You see Eric and Nicole on the ground, on the grass, just on the ground. And the first thing you think of is, get your hands off my wife. Like, stop it, sir. So, anyways, he sees them on the ground. They tell him what happened, and they repeatedly tell him, go after this man. He is dangerous. But no, he did not want to leave Nicole with Eric, because he already know what it is. Well, what it was before Miss Jada came through. But he did not want to leave Nicole with Eric. So by the time that he finally decides to leave, the man has now approached Ava and Jake, and he has shot Jake. And uh, thank goodness Jada was there, because she was able to take the man down. And that was just, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what Rafe does. I don't know what I know what Sean does, which is absolutely, I'm sorry, y'all. They don't do anything on for Days of Our Lives. The citizens are taking care of this. And then we go to Bold and the Beautiful. The Bold and the Beautiful. Baker, he has done nothing with Sheila. So it all starts when Sheila, of course, got Brooke to drink on New Year's Eve. Steffi found out. She confronted Sheila in an alley. Sheila pulled a gun on Steffi. Finn happened to come through at the exact moment. Sheila shoots Finn by it was an accident, but she still shot him. She shot him by accident. Then instead of getting him help, she turns the gun on Steffi and shoots Steffi so that Steffi cannot call the police. So then Sheila is just walking around the hospital and everything. Baker has no clues. They can't find out who did it. Finally, Steffi gains her memory back, and they actually called Baker over to Steffi's place, Ridge, Taylor, and Steffi, and they confront Steffi. And when Sheila finally admits that she's done this, then Baker comes out and he arrests Sheila. So Baker really didn't do anything in that whole thing. They have Sheila in custody. Baker allows Lee to come in and speak to Sheila. Brooke to come. Like, you're allowing all these people to come in and speak to Sheila and everything, because you know they have history. But you didn't know Mike was part of Sheila's history. So Sheila escapes because of Mike's help. And so they're asking Baker about this, and they said, who was the lead guard? And so they're talking to him about who the lead guard was, and Brooke is actually the one who figured that out. She said, hey, I know that name. That's Mike. He used to work at Forrester and everything, and they're like, Baker, y'all don't do background checks. And he was like, well, he came through clean and we had no reason, but he was the lead guard. Like, y'all didn't think to look into him more and everything. So anyways, that's another way that Baker did not solve the case. Brooke and Steffi actually had to solve it for him. Even as far as finding Finn, Bill happened upon Lee and was able to help her out and put it together, how to find Finn. And so, I don't know, guys. I don't know what Baker does, but it's not solving cases. Then we go to General Hospital. Okay. With General Hospital, excuse me, I had to swallow some water. There's a lot going on here. This is the most detectives I honestly have seen in everyone doing this, like in all of the shows, and the number of PIs that they even have, like Sam, and like they have a lot of people. Now, to be quite honest with you, I'm going to take Chase out of this, simply because, as my grandmother would say, he is so hot-tailed managed behind Brooklyn. He doesn't even have a job right now. He is on indefinite suspension. So he's not even working right now, because as a detective, he can't keep it together enough when it comes to Brooklyn not to be suspended. So let's just move Chance out of this. Chase, I'm sorry. Two C's together and they're detectives. My bad. But we still have Dante, which Dante, he's always involved in a few cases. It seems like every case he happens to get where his Sonny has beat his dad has beat up a man, and they're not gonna tell him that he did it. He already knows Sonny had to do something with it, and I'm like, okay, but we're not gonna look further into this. Okay, let's move on then. But then we look at Peter. So Mac and Dante were taking Peter to be, transported to a maximum security prison. Now Peter the whole time is literally telling them he's going to get away. And I don't know, they just didn't believe him. But anyways, he ends up escaping, and he kidnaps the baby, Bailey. He kidnaps the baby, Louise, and Maxie actually is the one who sacrifices and puts the baby in. You know how at the fire station you can put the baby there so that someone can take your baby and take care of your baby. Well, she does this so that they will know, that she's with Peter, and the baby will be safe. And they do all go over to get Maxie back, but it ends up because Felicia, excuse me, Anna went, and Dante went, but it ends up being, and Drew, but it ends up being Felicia, who wasn't even supposed to go with them, who ends up coming on her own and getting her daughter and taking Peter out. So it ends up being them to do it. And then we see, even with Harmony, they found that a man floating in the water, and they knew he was connected to Harmony because they said, because of things that she had said to Alexis and everything, but they could not put the puzzle together. And it took Alexis and Carly actually finding out about Harmony's past, with the psychiatrist, and how she murdered him while he was sleeping with Alexis. It took all of that, and for her to actually try to kill Alexis and Carly, for them to eat, and they were nowhere in on the case at all. So she was pretty much able to kill Neil and his brother, and no one was connecting any type of dots with Harmony until, again, Alexis and Carly. And then we go to Trina. Like, it is appalling how they have done with Trina. So they find the phone in her bag and everything, with the planted there by Esme because of the sex tape that, with Joss and Cam on it. So it looks like Trina is the one who did it. All the evidence points to Trina. They say they're looking into this. They have Sam on the case. They have Jordan on the case. Dante is supposed to be working the case. And Curtis is supposed to be working the case, but no one really was working this case. Rory was he was giving her moral support, and he was trying to help as much as possible by like telling Esme, hey, let me put my number in your, like my friend's number in your phone, and all of that kind of information. But who really broke this case for Trina was actually Trina, and Jocelyn helped because they went to the High Slider and found Oz. Because had they not spoken to Spinelli, which I honestly don't understand that, like how Spinelli can't get any information off this. But anyways, if they had not spoken to Spinelli and found out how you could buy a burner phone, they never would have found out about the High Slider, and they never would have found out about Oz. And it broke the case for Trina as far as all of this information coming out. Now they still can't prove that Esme did it, but at least they can get the reasonable doubt that they needed, and Trina did that herself. Now Spencer was working on this case as well, but his plan really wasn't it was to get Esme to confess, but it was pretty much by lying. So it was, honestly, the high schoolers are the ones who broke this case for to not broke the case, because they still don't know that Esme did it, but they are the ones who helped make it be known. Because if Spencer hadn't asked Britt about the pill, and then now Jordan is like, okay, that could be, Jordan and Curtis are like, that could have been the pill, if that she gave to Trina, if she mixed it with alcohol the way she has done Oz, then it would have those effects on Trina. Anyways, guys, that's all I'm all I'm saying about General Hospital is that the detectives don't seem to really do any of the work. It's like they're clueless. And I had someone on my other channel comment that as well. It's like they're completely clueless, and they don't know where even to start. And I don't know, it's just frustrating to watch sometimes. Now, the one person that is he's going to crack this case is Chance. So with Ashlyn being dead, Victor tried to cover this up, but Chance is not falling for it. He is not buying it. And to be quite honest with you, Victor should never have tried to cover this up, because like if you were in General Hospital, I mean Port Charles, Salem, or Los Angeles dealing with those detectives, you might have got away with it. But Chance actually seems like he's going to go after this one. And I'm just speaking of this case in particular, because it's the most relevant for him. But anyways, guys, so that's all the opinion was. Who are the real detectives? I will see you next time for another video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time for All Soaps All Day. Bye.